He's brought the Erie paper.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm concerned about. Erie's.
From Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
And this is Councilman Kaskowitowski with my guest today.
Richard Wagner. And,
what do we call you? Community activist?
Yeah, I guess you could call me that. I served on the Zoning Hearing Board for 6 years, and I worked in manufacturing in the city, and I do care a lot about what goes on in the community.
Oh, we got a caller, believe it or not. So Go ahead, caller. He called in real early.
Hey, Cass.
Yeah.
You're tough to get a hold of. I try to call you at your house. I always get your answer machine or your calls are full up.
Yeah, well, I can't keep my cell phone clear fast enough.
Oh, okay. And another thing, did you have a nice Christmas and New Year's?
Well, Christmas was really eventful. A family member had to go into the hospital, so Christmas was not I shouldn't say wasn't happy, but it definitely was different. We, my grandkids were, part of my, only one-third of, about half my grandkids were up here. We celebrated a little bit, but with the family member in the hospital, it really was a kind of a mixed emotion. So it's been kind of, I've been kind of busy the last week or so. So, but I'll make it a point to get over there and talk to you.
Hey, another thing I wanted to ask you, too. I don't know if you could get it on the computer, I wanted to mention it, that the puddle that gets in when it pours down rain over by the back gate of Friendship Towers there.
Yeah.
You always get a puddle of water there on the sidewalk. And I mentioned that a while ago.
And it probably ices up now, right?
Yeah, while there's snow on the ground now, you won't be able to see it.
Right.
Unless it's clear, unless it's no snow and it's just rain.
It's on the, 11th Street side?
On the 11th Street side by the back gate there. When you just pass the gate going west, it's
right.
on it's on the west part of the driveway there.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, another thing too, your snow plowers do a nice job. They clean the sidewalks off on State Street, and they do some of the sidewalk on 11th, almost down the French.
Yeah, I think that's, we do the streets, but I think, I'm not positive, I think the Downtown Improvement District, they do the actual plowing on the sidewalks in the district.
Yeah, I did mention it to the streets department, and they told me, he said, sometimes they can't always get to it because they got to do the plow the main streets. Yeah, because there's been so much snow, and that. But I'd like to get the bus stops cleared out,
The bus things, you mean?
Yeah, get them all cleared out.
I thought, we're going to have to get together with EMTA.
Yeah.
If they're not cleaning out, they're supposed to be keeping their bus things.
Clean and that, and out, at least out towards the road, especially on French Street, they clear it out, they plow it out.
Yeah.
We can set at the bus stop, but when you were to get on the bus, it snows. There's a lot of snow by the curb.
Yeah.
And if you got a power chair, you ain't gonna get on the bus.
Boy, time has changed. I can remember when I was a young man working for the parking authority, we used to actually have to shovel out certain interchange by hand.
Yeah, and I don't know if your businesses like Smears down there on 9th and State.
Right.
They should clean that out where the handicap, where the wheelchair and that. Because I was going over a road in the street, going down State yesterday afternoon. I made it down there. I watched the cars and that, but I couldn't get up sidewalk to get to the store because they had it all snowy and that, and I couldn't. My chair would get stuck.
Oh, you mean on the ramp, like?
Well, yeah, on the ramp part, like it was snow covered in that. For the handicaps and that. On them corners, they should be cleaned out. Not just for me, for everybody.
Right.
As a wheelchair and that.
Yeah, in the old days, a lot of the merchants used to do that, but you don't see it as much anymore.
No, I know, I noticed that myself. But they do a good job, the guys. They really clean the sidewalks off. They do really do a good job. And it's just the handicap part.
Yeah, it's always kind of been that the old theory was that we clean the streets, and the property owner cleans the sidewalks.
Said too, yeah. The people that have that store and that.
Yeah, in the old days, to keep business in your store, that's what you would do.
Yeah, clean it all out. I noticed that, like the Dollar General down there, they always shovel their sidewalks.
Well, that's the ones you got to patronize, and the other guys you got to tell me, I like to shop here, but I can't get there.
Yeah, can't get there if it's all covered with snow,
Yeah, I got a couple calls today off the air about people that private snow haulers that are pushing snow out of their yard into other people's property. Here we go again. When Councilman Alexandrovich tried to do something, our fabulous Erie newspaper beat the hell out of him, and so did the media.
That's right.
And I tell you, but one of these days, I'm gonna take the media around and talk to these people that have to put up with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, another thing I was going to ask you too. Well, I heard that they're working on trying to bring high-speed rail.
Well, they've been trying that for a long time. The way the plan is written now that I saw, there would be high-speed rail from Buffalo East and from Cleveland West. And in the middle, we'd have no high-speed rail.
Yeah, I know. But I noticed for one thing, I thought they were going to run the trains along the lake instead of on 14th Street.
I don't know about that. That's...
Go along the lake.
I haven't been in enough meetings to that to tell you yes or no, but laying new track bed would be probably...
Yeah.
Wherever they do, it's going to be tricky.
That was in process of doing it, and then they backed out of the plan.
Well, the problem is now the government doesn't have us on their agenda, and the people that are trying this are raising their own funds to, try to show the relevance of it. It doesn't make sense to me why you would have a pocket of about 200 miles that would not be covered.
Right, I know.
What are you going to do, stop the train, go slow?
Yeah.
And caller, I think with that high-speed rail, none of the crossings can be at grade.
Oh, they can't. They have to be above.
They have to be above or
because it's going high speed.
Because it's going high speed. So that's another obstacle with this high-speed rail is getting all the crossings.
Yeah, like Chicago, it's like on top of a bridge. Their high-speed rails are.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they would have something like that, it would probably be all right.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember when they proposed, there was a guy they called the Wacko. He wanted to put a monorail down the middle of I-79 or I-90.
Yeah.
His theory was that, and it's true, the land in the middle, except on rare occasions when the Commonwealth or the state of Ohio or somebody, you'll see them add another lane.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, the middle there is the median. Yeah. There's no reason why you couldn't have a monorail.
Yeah.
But the problem was, the idea was great, but unfortunately, like most ideas, no cash.
No. Yeah, and another thing I mentioned it too, when Kevin Bianca was in office, I mentioned about running similar to a subway, State Street in the center of the road, where they get on it, and it goes up to the Mill Creek Mall.
Underground, you mean?
Like that. But,
wow, I'll tell you what.
He said it would be nice to look at, but I don't think they get enough people to get on them and ride them.
Well, the thing is, if you don't get people using the buses now, like Pittsburgh now, when they dug their subway, which is really a minor subway compared to, it runs under the city, but then when it gets on the other side of the river, it goes above ground.
Yeah.
Just the other, I forget how much that little section costs to go from the, what they call the ballpark area.
Yeah.
It was tremendous. So, I mean, yeah, when you dig a subway, it's not a cheap date.
No.
And I think when you're an area of 280,000, we're probably never going to see it.
Yeah. We'll probably never see it here.
I don't think so. We're not big enough yet.
Yeah, I know. I don't think. Yeah, because a lot of your shops and that are moving out. So the area's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, with 280,000 people, buses can handle that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for calling.
I'll leave you go, Cass. I hope things get better for your family and that.
Well, it's getting better.
All right.
Hey, thanks.
Take care, sir.
Bye-bye.
Looks like you got been making notes, so
Well,
go.
I have some notes, but maybe someone might call in. Kaz, a couple of weeks ago you were talking about pensions and that ours is 75% funded, and that's a good thing compared to other.
Can you hold that thought?
I can hold it. Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey.
Hello there, John.
Hi, Rich. I have a couple things on my mind. The first thing I want to know, Kaz,
Yeah.
did you look in to see where the fuel money is supposed to be expended on?
The which one? The liquid fuel?
Liquid fuels.
Well, you know what? I didn't check in lately, but from what I remember, John,
The last,
I heard you on the radio with Brad Roy.
yeah, and what did you hear from him?
Did you hear what he said? He said, "Well, I'm not really sure."
Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm getting the particulars, and from what I understood from what he said, no money was supposed to be put in the general funds, no money...
No, that's where he's wrong now, okay?
Pardon?
They wanted that money separated. It is not in the general fund. It is in what they call the liquid fuels fund.
Electric bills, and where's that money come out of?
Liquid fuels is a separate fund. It's not part of the general fund.
Yeah, but you said that they were paying...
We pay the electric bills.
He was paying electric bill with...
Yes, on the streets.
Fuel money.
Wait, here's how you have to... You are allowed to pay it on your city streets, okay?
Yes.
You can pay for anything related to those, such as street lighting, which is permissible.
Well,
Because the street...
I will find out for sure.
Yeah, you can't do the street lighting in a parking ramp, okay, or a parking lot.
Well, if you're
But you
paying,
can do it on the city street
you're
port.
paying the electric bill that encompasses that.
No, John, have you ever seen how it is at City Hall?
I know you got demand meters in various areas.
Can you see me on TV?
Pardon?
Can you see my fingers?
Your fingers?
Yeah, we used to get the bills this high.
Yeah.
Each
what
one,
was that?
each one for every. They weren't one. We didn't get one bill like people think we get one. No, we didn't.
No, you get for demand meters in various sections.
Yeah, but we got them for different. Like we would get bills for streets, parks. It was all separated out by sites, and then that was our job was, for instance, the girls in Public Works would have to, take them, put them all, so they were all booked separately, and then we would get one bill to pay the electric,
Well, I can
but on that bill
understand
would be broken out things.
I think it's misinterpreted, though, that you're taking money out of liquid fuels and using that as a cover to pay for street lighting.
Well, you know what? If the state allows it, Mr. Roy, you know what? I'm not afraid to disagree with him. He's a young man, right?
Yes.
He said, if I remember his comment, as far as I know, or I'm not sure. Well, you know what? When I could say that, and I don't. I can tell you this: we were audited, and not once did they ever say we were doing anything wrong. And the state does audit the liquid fuels separately, and they want it here. There's a reason why they want it separate, John.
Well, I've gone one step.
Do you know what happened with the liquid fuels if you put in the general budget?
Well, see, I've gone one step further. I'm getting the whole thing shipped to me, and I'll be able to pinpoint
Hey,
it.
and if it's wrong, I'll tell you what, I'll be the first one to tell them they're doing it wrong. But this has been, I got to believe, John, and I wasn't here when it started. I think it started with Joyce. But, from everything I've been told, I even questioned that when I come in here. And it was explained to me that, and the books are audited by the Commonwealth.
Well, I can understand that.
And
but
if there was a problem, they would...
can go out and buy a brand new truck for $150,000 out of liquid fuel money.
Because they allow you to, John. You know what? Everybody thinks
That's what he...
Now, here's the problem.
Now,
Remember...
a new truck is not going into repairing roads and bridges.
What kind of truck is it?
That new plow truck. They spent $150,000.
Well, you can apportion part of that cost to it. You can say, and they can do this at an accounting stamp. You can take and parcel out which portion of that truck. In Meadville, they can do this. They can tell you how much their plow trucks are plowing for the Commonwealth and how much they're plowing for the city of Meadville.
But that still doesn't involve liquid fuel monies for road repair.
You don't know that. I don't know what they do, John, but I'm telling you.
I'll be getting it now.
Okay, but John, what are you going to do if I'm right? Are you going to...
Well, if you're right, you're right, but I think you're wrong.
Well, yeah, no, but you're like Brad Roy. You're sitting there going, "Why in my,
right now I have a question.
I'll tell you straight out. If I don't know, I'll find out. You know what? I meant
to be getting the answer.
I meant to check, but I'll tell you what. I know when I was controller, I questioned them, and they said that was a permissible use, and the audits never once pointed out that we were doing anything wrong.
Well, that's what.
But they don't want that money in the general budget because what would happen was. When you put money in the general budget, it can be used for anything.
But you don't go out and take an $8 million bond.
Yeah.
Their roads.
Well, you know what? I don't agree with it, but I wasn't on council, okay? I told you my idea. My idea would be, and it's painful, but you know what? It's transparent, and people can yell at me, but you know what? The only way to do it properly, John, it's an ongoing expense, right?
That's true, and like
so what you do, John, you just can say, you know what? Every year. And I don't know what the figure would be.
Well, whether it's going to be higher.
Whether it's a mill or 2 mills, you say, you know what? Every year we're going to do this, and come up with a total or millage, and say this money's going into road repair. Hopefully, if you don't use it, you'll be building up a fund so that you in the future, by investing it also.
Well, Pat's going to send me all the specifics and how that money should be allocated. That they allocate to the city house to be spent.
And if I'm wrong, John, I'll apologize to you publicly. I'll come. You can draw a crowd on State Street. I'll give you half an hour.
Now I have another problem.
Go ahead.
Taking my taxpayer dollars and defending the zoning board, which in my mind they did not do the right thing for the convention authority.
Wait, we're paying for that?
You're going to take my tax money and go to a court hearing.
Wait a minute. Eddie's going. You're talking about Eddie Kissel, right?
They're going. He's put in.
The zoning board has their own lawyer, I do believe, don't they, Rich?
Yeah, they do.
The ruling.
We don't pay that, right?
Don Wagner, the solicitor for the zoning hearing board, John.
Yeah.
He gets paid X amount of dollars a month
from the water authority. I mean, from the zoning.
Well, yeah,
and that's indirectly through.
Yeah, I mean, you approve his salary, but he'll defend that. It won't be the Greg Carleys and what have you from upstairs. And Don.
He's being paid with taxpayer money?
Well, he is, yeah. But that's included in all his other duties of coming down to every zoning hearing board meeting. And he writes a response to every case that comes down here.
I think by law the zoning board has to be separate, really, from us.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
see, when you have specifications to put in such a width of a sidewalk, the bumper around it, and you have it there, and you have somebody from the city, the engineering, whatever, and they know they're doing this wrong, and they tell them go ahead and do it, and now they're going to court to see why they did it that way.
I agree with you, John. I said, I was at that hearing, and I thought there was a point where I really felt like they realized they made a mistake.
Well, they never even give the man a chance to ask questions to anybody there.
Well, he's going to get his day in court now.
Yeah.
I've always said to people, it's better to argue not in court, but in a room somewhere before it gets to that point where you're spending, lots of money arguing about something that could have been solved before.
True.
But I don't know. You know what? And I said this before. I think a lot of the authorities are running loose and free.
Well, can we bring them in?
And you can't.
You got ordinances on the book that aren't even being enforced.
See, the trouble with these authorities, they're independent, so they do what they want to do.
And I think the zoning law should all be uniform.
That's why it's very important who we put on zoning boards. is representative of the thought.
Someone next to you can tell you about that.
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
Just put another person on the zoning board, and I don't think he'll even be. Never mind. I won't say.
No, I'm not pleased with it. You know what, John? I look at it like, it's a nice thing what the convention center did. Okay, I will say that it's a nice thing. But you know what? If you're going by the letter of the law, okay,
Do it.
then they didn't do it properly. Now they probably didn't want to put a fence
Didn't
up.
do it properly.
They probably didn't want to put a fence up.
I'm talking about that sidewalk. They didn't do it properly.
But you know what, John?
They didn't meet the
I'm gonna-
zoning specifications.
I'm going to tell you something. I looked at somebody sitting next to me one day at that hearing, and when you read the ordinance, it's a little gray.
It's vague. Not great.
Yeah, and see, that's the problem with ordinances that have not been vetted by, like, attorneys. And I hate to say that, but you need, before you pass a law, and it happens even in Washington, Harrisburg, you read the law, and all of a sudden, you think you got it nailed down, and you read one sentence later, and there's wiggle room. And the trouble with the wiggle room is, if you looked at it, there was enough wiggle room that they gave the zoning board a chance to stay their decision. Now, it's up to a judge what he feels,
You got a whole book of ordinances in the city clerks.
Yep, and they're all gray, a lot of them. I mean, there's very few that...
How many are enforced?
That's what I've always said. Council can pass all the ordinances in the world you want. But under our form of government, which our parents, John, I remember my dad when he wasn't happy with it, but when they voted for the new form of government, you basically put one man in charge of everything, or one woman, and council has...
7 votes.
They can do what they want to do within their little domain, but the everyday running of the operation, we can't go down there and tell, people to enforce the ordinances. We can ask, okay?
Then why put it on the book?
Well, we have them on the books, but it's up to under our form of government, the administrative section is handled by the mayor's office. And that's, if the mayor don't want to, if the mayor or his people...
Administration job.
Do you remember, it's just like, how many violations we got where people are doing different crazy things, especially in housing.
Oh, yeah.
And they say, we don't have the manpower, we're not going to press that, or, we got a sidewalk ordinance, right?
Do we really?
No, I don't think, why, we do on the paper.
What good is it?
We also got, today, a lady called me and she said, this guy's pushing snow across the street onto her property. And it's the same thing Mark tried to fight for. So we have all kinds of ordinances, but you know what? They're worthless unless somebody wants to do it. And under our form of government, back in the old days, a councilman had individual power. Today, we have an administrative branch. And I'm not saying bad or anything about the mayor or anybody, but it's really up to the mayor and his people to enforce the rules that council passes.
Oh, you're talking about pushing snow. There's a guy pushing snow on 41st Street between Page and Hoyt on both sides of the street and piling it up on the corners.
Yep.
It's not a city plow. He's doing a whole block.
Is it his property or is he
It's the city's property.
Is he an individual?
Yes.
Yeah, see, we got to quit being nice because you know what?
That's true.
Being nice when somebody else is getting hurt is not,
I had to dodge the snow plows because they left it there. I have one other quick thing. By the way, I never got a call back from the complaint department from Rob Bush.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
A call back, and that's the way the department always seems to work down there.
I turned into 2 addresses to his boss. I'll follow it up today, and
I never got a call, and I give him my number and everything else.
Because I explained, I told him, I said, it's the same property that you and I talked about before, right?
That's true.
And they said, then I have another one.
For the last 6 months.
On the west side of town, there's a guy that brings it in from Ohio.
What, snow?
No, it's garbage.
Oh.
And he leaves it there for 3-4 days, and the neighborhood's got to put up with that,
I have one more thing here, and I'll bail out. This last week, it was so cold, and, they had warming stations, and I, as a taxpayer, own part of the convention center.
Yeah.
Why didn't they open that up and let people come on in, use that for a warming station? I'm sure they're booked to the hills, right?
Well, it's a good idea that, public buildings that,
This is going around the square down there, down the dock, and
I know what
all around.
I can hear the argument why they don't want to.
That's no argument. That's my tax dollars at work.
Yeah, and it's
See-
warm in there,
see,
John.
there-
They
there's-
keep the heat on.
The thing is, like, I don't know if they were supposed, when they first designed it, they were supposed to have a
Got
bathroom.
those big rooms. What's it take to throw a cot out?
Well, hey, here's a good one, John. My complaint over the years had always been, if you got to the arena early, right? And you had to go to the restroom, especially if you're from out of town, good luck.
Yeah.
So, when they first designed that building, I remember they had a couple bathrooms facing the lobby, like,
Yeah.
and a couple concession stands, which could have been like, what do you call it, pre-opened?
Yeah.
But we do things rough in this town.
Oh yeah. Well, years ago we used to have a couple of places to relax down there on State Street.
Oh, you talking about the underground ones?
Yes, so both sides of the street for women and men.
we couldn't have those today, though.
Oh no. Well, that's where all the people used to go get warm.
Hey, John, think about this. We're the only town that I can find. Well, maybe there is another one out there. How many entrances to Joliet Park?
How many entrances to the park?
Yeah.
There's probably main entrance coming in for tickets.
Yeah, that's it. One, right?
One.
Unless you got, the only other one would be if you're in the private boxes,
How would you
okay?
get out?
And that's in case, well, we got lots of exits, but only one entrance, okay?
Oh, I see.
And if the only other one they use is if you're going up to the private boxes, okay?
Yeah.
Now, how many entrances to the Tuyo Center? I mean, your insurance arena.
The reinsurance rating?
Yeah.
Just one, isn't there?
Yeah.
So how come the fire inspectors let them get away with it?
How many entrances to Gannon's auditorium?
Gannon Auditorium, there's
One.
entrances?
One.
Well, you have two exits on the back.
Erie Football Stadium, four entrances. They only use one or maybe two at the most.
But then our fire department aren't doing their job, are they?
What my question is, what are we? I mean,
It's not what we are, it's who's building and who's taking care of the
well, if you remember when the arena was being renovated, right?
Yeah,
They brought people in on the backside.
true.
Okay, you could still do it again. You have other entrances.
Yes.
But yeah, I just laugh that we're at one end. Can you imagine if you did that in Cleveland? You had to walk around the whole Q Center to go to the Cavs game.
I imagine.
Can you imagine the outrage if you had to walk around that? Now, I mean, it ain't the same thing, but this is a pretty big building.
Yeah.
So if you park on the backside, you got to walk all the way to the front.
Yeah, that's true. Other than that, how's that guy next to you? He doesn't look too happy.
Oh, I'm happy, John. Hey, John.
Somebody must be home.
Casey Wells was quoted in the paper that pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered.
That's true.
And that's that. I don't know why.
What was that in reference to?
He was talking about how approach to things. The pigs of the world are more successful than the hogs of the world. I quite frankly didn't understand it completely, but it was in the paper, and I thought, what the hell is he talking
That's a
about?
weird analogy.
But John, if we don't get a hold of these authorities, honest to God, I look at what's going on down there at the Gaff property, and we're building another hotel. Okay, they're going to build another hotel, and we need places that pay taxes, things that attract people to our community. If you had a convention in Erie, and all those conventioneers were down at the convention center, the most entertainment they could get was going over to the library.
True, unless they
Because
get
there's
down to the bus and go up to the casino.
yeah, because there's no place to walk to that's contributes to that atmosphere of a convention and conventioneers, and nobody's doing nothing. And I look at that Nick Scott project and I think, what are they doing? I know they're trying to wait for the Chris, and I don't blame them because they're using their own money.
It's a dirty shame because somebody comes for a convention, they come once, and I'll tell you what, if you ever get any repeats down there,
Yeah.
you're shocked.
Well, actually, they like the Erie area, everything I've heard.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like most conventioneers, if you go to one,
Yeah.
you like to keep it within walking range.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
the big problem is,
I know all the arguments.
I mean, think of it. If Nick Scott does what he wants to do,
Yeah.
and GAF is developed the way the public wants it developed,
Yeah.
then I think you got a nice situation for,
Yeah.
you know, if you bring in some nice restaurants and stuff that,
We need some private money down there.
Sure we do.
And the Scots were ready to go.
and here's the thing, you know, people yelled about Nick Scott. They said, well, you're going to give him a loan, and you're going to give him probably the CRIZ.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day, a loan is a loan. You have to pay it back.
Yeah.
And the CRIZ is only for a short time, you know, to give you a jump start. But in the end, you know, it's going to be, that is going to be on that Hotel Sheraton and the.
Hey, but we can
And
give loans to Dairy Queens. Low interest loans.
Well, wait a minute now, John, that's not a bad, let me tell you something, that's not a bad idea, okay?
Oh, he does a wonderful business up there.
I don't know what is he doing? I was going to ask him.
Does everything.
I know, what was he going to do? Is expand the place?
He's going to put more seating in, and he's going to bring it up to date.
Okay, here's what I feel about that. We have a revolving loan program. That's one you're talking about.
And that revolving loan program should go to people who want it, and it shouldn't be vetted to such. It should be have an open minimum amount. Say, I need this amount of money. I need a small interest loan. I'll repay you back. Yet
Actually,
there's still political baloney behind that too.
Do you like the fact that Dairy Queen got it?
Yes.
Because I'll tell you, we've loaned up money in the past to like Smith's Provision,
Well, you've loaned money to
and we have got the money back. It's Dave Dieter was one of the guys they used to.
the Kohler Project, the Jews Project.
Well, those were bad.
Right down the street, the Section 8 housing you down there at the Warner, you forgive all that stuff?
Yeah, but the ones that lately that Chris has done and Dave and all those guys before, when they deal with local people, not these miracle projects that come in like the Kohler.
The guy did the Kohler Project was local.
Well, yeah, but he was kind of like a carpetbagger, more local. Okay, you don't see him around now, do you?
Yeah.
I don't know if he is or not.
That's what I mean. He's not a local. You know, you'd look at Tom Kennedy. You know where to find Tom Kennedy.
That's true.
You know where to find Nick Scott.
Yeah.
You know where to find the Webbers from Smith's Provision, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to look too hard, right?
True.
I mean, these people are, you know, community people.
But they didn't sign papers that they will make the loans good. They go out and buy a Cadillac, buy a new house, and I don't know if he's still working at the area.
Yeah, the contracts that I had to sign, co-sign, they were pretty specific. And I'll tell you what, most of the people have lived up to their, you know, to what they were promised, and because the fund.
To let them off the hook.
Well, yeah, but you know, John can't help what happened in the past.
I know you can't, but you sure can watch what's going on in the future.
Yep, that's why, you know.
So I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye, John.
What do you got in that paper you want to?
Well,
you get some free time here.
You know, Kaz, I just wondered, you know, when that topic of pensions came up and they were talking about money, how many retirees do we have in in a city that draw a paycheck, a retirement?
That's a good question.
You know? I mean, I was just trying to.
It varies from month to month, obviously, but.
Yeah, the amount does, but, and the amount of people would vary too. But you know, I was just curious because $227 million is a lot of money, and from
the value of the plan.
Well, that's what you supposedly have.
What's what they call that's the value of the plan as it sits right now.
Yeah.
The investments we hold.
And you're hoping to get an 8% return, which on that is almost $20 million. And I just wondered how many millions of dollars you give out to the retirees, and they earned it. They deserve it.
Okay, you know what I'll do? For your sake, I'll get you the 3 actuarial studies, which have all the up-to-date numbers. The 8%, that's always been debated.
Yeah, I mean, because that's, to me...
A lot of companies go down to 7.5, 7.
Yeah.
The problem is, if the mayor would go along with it, and the board, and everybody, what that means is your taxes are going to, your MMO is going to go up.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that means that's the portion. What people don't understand is the actuary every year, 2 years he does a formal report, but every year he gives us an idea about what our assets are today, what our liabilities are today, and the future cost of our pension. In other words, he's got to use in his tables
Right.
Now, the 8% is an assumption that, well, we're going to make 8% money, okay?
Yeah.
And then you look out down the road and you say, well, people are going to live this long. That's why everything needs to be looked at, all your mortality tables, everything, because
Right.
people are living longer.
They're living longer.
So,
yeah.
you look at there and you say, yeah, we have 220 million, but we really need
Yeah.
25% more,
You
okay?
need the 310 million.
Right.
to-
And, Joyce Savacchio floated 2 bond issues.
Yeah.
And we were pretty solvent. No one could predict 911.
Yeah.
And that took a short hit.
Yeah.
But then right after 911, we tumbled into
Yeah.
the Great Recession.
Yeah.
Now, we've recovered from that.
Right.
But, what we're doing is each one is separate too. Each fund, there's 3 of them,
Yeah.
have different needs and,
Yeah.
so each one has to be funded separately.
Yeah.
But overall, compared to the Yorks, the Reddings, the Allentowns, we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah,
Now, Allentown, I think is fully funded, but they sold their water department to do it.
Oh, okay.
So now what that means is,
Yeah.
right now you're okay, but
Yeah.
how will you be in 20 years?
Yeah.
Or 10 years,
But Kaz, in the last 3 years, we've had a robust financial market.
And it showed in
Yeah,
as far as,
yeah, and I wonder what it was back when it was more normal, because you can almost reach 8%, which is really a good
Right.
return, especially when you can't get any money if you
actually-
invest in a bank.
actually overall, here's what's weird. When this problem started, it started back, I don't want to point fingers. It was way back, okay? The fund was at 35%.
Yeah, wow.
Because it wasn't mandatory by the state for municipalities to put money into MMO.
Yeah.
Today, when the actuary tells you how much you got to put in there,
Yeah.
and the MMO is the difference between whether, how you would be fully funded or not fully funded to that degree. So that, it costs them, right presently, the mayor has to come up with, and the taxpayers ultimately, but
Oh, yeah.
when I used to have to tell the mayor that, we needed 10 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that 10 million has to be put in the budget, okay?
Yeah,
Now, we do get a return on that from the state funding and from our tax that's above the 1%.
Yeah.
So some of that comes down, not all of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you are hoping at the market now.
Yeah.
Lately, yeah, it's been coming up,
Oh, yeah.
but the problem is that one of the funds is doing very well, and it's increasing slowly.
Yeah.
The other 2 are a challenge, and it's because of the way they're structured.
Yeah.
And, you're going to need a lot more than 8%, but over the years, I think the last time I looked, it was, if you went back 15, 20 years, and our advisor
Yeah.
had the numbers on this, that we were above 8%.
Yeah.
The trouble is when you hit those 10-year pockets where you don't make it,
yeah. Oh,
and then
yeah.
you start to drop, and
Yeah. See, and theirs is a defined pension plan, and if that ever got into your own,
and you'd see the hit.
then you'd feel the hit and see the hit. Where this defined pension, you're protected, and all that means if it goes down, we just got to put more money into it.
And with you,
and it's
that's the
hard.
trouble with the 401.
Yeah.
As an individual, you know what happens. If it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
doing good,
Oh, yeah.
maybe you don't retire this year because
Yeah.
you lost a lot of your value.
Lost a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, it's it's going to be a challenge, and a lot of this goes back to the sins of the past have come to roost,
Yeah.
and the fact that when you look overall, we you get too many tax exempts, the whole problem. But
Yeah.
but you have to go back to we created this problem because somewhere in the past, I remember I went to a seminar and they told us the one thing you want to learn is if you take out a pension bond or whatever happens that you reach a good status, don't go back in the hole again. Which means just because you're doing good now, don't give out more benefits. And that's what happened in the past.
Yeah.
They would get money, they put more benefits. Then all of a sudden you look and you go, somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
And it's like that old can you kick down the road, right?
Yeah.
How far do you kick it before it hits some wall somewhere?
Yeah. And I have another subject I'd like to just hit a little bit, Cass. It's the Ferguson matter that happened in Missouri. And when I look at the city of Erie, and God bless these people who put on their uniforms and strap a gun to their hip every day, we need to get out and let the public, the people that live in different parts of town, know how much we really do support our police force.
Yeah, I think it'd be, I think that's,
Because the probability of someone getting shot by a white police officer in Erie, Pennsylvania is 100%,
well, yeah.
almost.
Yeah, because we don't have many.
And I'll be damned if I'd ever want to see Al Sharpton walking down the street with a bunch of angry protesters telling us what a lousy police force we have and what a lousy city we are because we have this police force that doesn't care about. We need the Witherspoons, the Joneses, you, to get out there. Fred Rush, now that he's retired, maybe he could spend a little more time promoting these guys that go to work every day and don't know if they're coming home in one piece.
How about the firemen the other day,
Out there in the cold, yeah.
But I mean, not only that, they took time to give coats to
Give
kids.
coats out, yeah.
And, the police do a lot of nice programs that are
Oh, they
kept quiet.
do, they do.
But you know what, the problem is, I think the media fuels these things,
They do.
It's a tough job. We hire right now. These are bad times, I call them, because, and I'm not saying the draft was a good idea,
Right.
but let's look at the draft. Okay, we don't have one.
Yeah.
So we have a mercenary army
Yeah,
and
right.
Navy and Air Force and Marines.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nobody really has a vested interest.
Yeah, yeah.
Same thing with our police. We hire them to do the dirty job,
Oh,
the one
yeah.
that we don't want to do, or
oh, yeah.
And are there? Let me tell you this. And if there's probably, I'm thinking there's like about 180 men, 160, 180.
Yeah.
Are there some bad apples in that group? Absolutely. It's bad. There's bad apples in everything.
Yeah.
There's bad politicians.
Yeah.
There's bad private people in the private sector, bankers, people that are pillars of the community. Are bad. A lot of it. But you know what? There's more good people. But
Oh, yeah.
we got to the point now that what happened to personal responsibility?
Yeah.
I said this, and I'm going to call Mrs. Arrington.
Oh, yeah, you should have her on.
I'm going to have her on there if she'd like to come, because I'd like to hear I'd like to hear from somebody that's got a, what do you call it? Has got some grease in the game, or whatever you call it.
She certainly does, yeah.
And we keep talking, but we got a problem, and it's a problem with, it's not an easy problem. Do we need more? I've always said this. We've cut back on a lot of programs.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need more programs where kids are involved in something.
Yeah.
But we've cut band programs, we've cut athletics. Yeah. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Good, how are you?
I'm real good today. I was wondering, is the coffee hot? I was going to stop in and get a cup.
Yeah, I think if you stop by, you could, you'd probably be welcome, and it's brewing back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if I don't want coffee? Is there Pepsi or Coke products there?
Well, products.
I'm not sure if it's Pepsi or Coke. There's water. You can get water.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, because I understand that's one of the perks the clerk's office, the beverages and...
Hey, let me put a rest to this thing, okay?
Yeah.
Here's how it worked when I was controller.
Yeah.
My office had water.
Yeah.
We paid for it, okay?
Sure.
My office had coffee. We paid for it, okay? The only two departments that were authorized coffee, and unless it's misused, and that's something you have to watch, but the only two departments that warranted free coffee was the mayor's office, and the mayor, I'll say this publicly, does not go out there and sit there and drink it all day, neither does his employees, and people are not allowed to congregate there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's for the, he entertains. Like, I've been out of town, I've been in offices of different mayors and stuff, and they all had, when you visited them, they, would you like a coffee, okay?
Right.
I mean, this is our point man, okay? Whether you like him or not, he's our point man. Same thing with council chambers. You guys were offered coffee, I think, when you had your zoning meetings, right?
No,
You never asked for it?
No, they never. No,
The intent was,
no, we didn't, Kat.
the intent was there that because council used it and because of meetings we had there. But that was it. That was, the other departments tried it here. I know I stopped it when I was here. And I think the present controller has put a lid on it too.
Well, that's no different than every job I've ever had, Kaz.
Yeah.
I mean, people pay for their food and beverage or beverages.
Yeah.
I guess this came up because I'm thinking about the money that council has to pay this
what's that called again? Archive.
Archive.
Yeah, well, you know what, I wasn't in favor of that because they're using part of our budget that if we have a problem and need somebody, we're in trouble now.
Well, you and Mr. Mursky and Mr. Brennan were the three that voted against it. And, of course, we know Witherspoon and Jones and Funko and Winarski, they were the four that voted for it. And what was really strange is those are the four people that have the most amount of years on council, Witherspoon and Jones and Funko. And you would think that by sitting at council meetings for all that time, they would feel pretty confident that anybody could step in with a little bit of training and do that clerk's job that Rose has done. But she's done a great job at that, I think.
Hey, if you want to stop down at all, I'll buy you a cup of coffee on my dime. How's that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you need to, Kaz. If the taxpayers are paying for this coffee, it's wide open. I mean, I've been in that clerk's office and before I retired drinking coffee.
Yeah, the intent has always been that's for, the public, that's for when council's here and they have study sessions, and that's for public meetings and things like that, Just like the mayor, like he entertains different people,
For sure.
And we, the last thing you want to do is send out for, you just make them a cup of coffee, and that was, it never got, I'll tell you this, it never got out of hand with the mayor, for sure.
The mayor's business is different, though. The city clerk and city council are like a unit.
Yeah, I wasn't on council, but we had this discussion when I was a controller, and I said, I would be okay with it if it was, that's why I asked you.
Yeah.
We have many boards that meet, and the people don't get paid.
Oh, yeah.
So to give them a free cup of coffee, I didn't see that was a problem.
Yeah, they never...
They should have offered it to you,
Yeah, we never, even when we were here long periods of time, it was...
Yeah, that was my intent, because, if you go to the airport, they have a cup of coffee for meetings.
I'll tell you how bad it was. I was here a long period of time. I got a parking ticket parked in the back parking lot here because I was here over an hour or two, whatever it was, and they gave me a ticket.
Did they expunge it?
I did get it expunged, but I had to go give my driver's license and a lot of excuses.
We got to be kinder here. When we have people, when we have citizens that volunteer for these groups, that do it out of,
right.
We should give them, we shouldn't tag them and stuff like that,
Yeah. And I mean, a little of that was, maybe I didn't sign in. If you sign in, though, down here and log yourself in, they leave you alone. That I can give the police that credit for that. So.
You still there, sir?
Yeah. Well, Kaz, I was going to say that the next time I come to council, I'm going to ask because, I think you council people, you go to 2 meetings a month, you go to a lot of committee meetings, you meet with citizens, you meet with the administration, you meet with different people at City Hall. You do all that for $6,000 a year. I'm going to ask, what is this archivist, this retired city clerk, what has he done in the past 6 months to earn $6,000? What has he done that contributes to the good of the city, $6,000 worth? When I think of all the work that you have to do, Kaz, and the other 6 council people for $6,000 a year all year long, and they're willing to pay this guy $6,000 in 6 months, what's he done for you? What's he done for the citizens?
Well, I'm not down there, so I don't watch. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your concern.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys having a good afternoon. Appreciate your show, Kaz.
Hey,
have a great day.
when you come down there, call, and I'll get you and I will go out for coffee.
Well, I think we should just use that taxpayer coffee. What the heck? The money's free, isn't it?
Yeah, but I like my coffee better. I'll take you over to Starbucks or something.
All right. Thank you much. You guys have a great afternoon.
Safe.
I always tell my fellow councilmen, little things become big things.
They do, and
It's a perception out there that, are we doing the best we can? Sometimes I have to say no,
And $6,000 a year probably isn't a whole lot of money to be a city councilman.
But my thought has always been this. There was an old saying once, I can't remember who said it. A penny here, a penny there, pretty soon you're talking big money.
Oh, yeah.
Which means that if you're willing to do something at the lower end, it becomes very easy to add zeros.
Yeah. But
and that's what happens. If you start to get out of the habit that you don't control things, then it becomes,
and you do have to control that. That little, And I don't know what it was, a boondoggle. Do we need an archivist? I'm really not sure. You know, first blush, I would say probably not. In today's world with
I
electronic
think the
this and
feeling of some
electronic
of us
that,
was, we could use the experience for a short time if we needed it.
Yeah.
But not a commitment of.
But that money could have went somewhere else. Could have went to the jobs program
Well,
for the
right now
kids.
it's coming out of our professional services,
Which means you can't go somewhere.
Well, no, that's a different account, but
okay.
if we needed to hire somebody, for instance, when we have hearings, we have to bring a stenographer and all that. Okay, that's coming out of that fund,
Yeah. But another thing I saw just the other day,
What's that?
food deserts. We have quite a few of them in the city where there's no chance to buy produce and what have you.
Grocery stores.
Grocery stores, yeah, that's really what it is. But the county's taken it upon themselves. They're working with the smaller markets and somehow trying to get food and produce where you can almost get it for maybe free, and get some of those necessities to the people in the less privileged areas of town that don't have a grocery store.
Think about it now. We have, up on 38th Street, you got Tops.
Yeah.
And
That's not where the deserts are, though. The deserts are
No, I'm
down
saying,
here.
but these are almost deserts too, when you think about it. When I was a kid and I moved up to, when I was first married, and when we decided to move to the east side, when I moved there, we had Super Duper,
Well, Elm Street.
Erie County Farms, I don't know if they were in there or not, You had something in that Perry Plaza, right?
Yeah.
You had, the Value Center was a Loblaws.
Yeah.
Grandview had a grocery store. You had one where, on Pine, Antonio's, right?
Yeah.
And just over the years, you watched all the grocery stores disappear.
Yeah.
And especially, you're right, when you get down below here now, Sanders is gone, Bellows is gone, right? State Street Food Market, the two of them that are on State Street are gone over the years, You have like a void in the middle, right?
I went to Urbaniak's over the holidays, and I went down there about 11 o'clock in the morning, and I just wonder, how many little old ladies want to drive down there, get out of their cars? It just doesn't even look good. The area around it, it just doesn't look healthy. I mean, it's.
Well, no, the elderly are the ones that got smart.
Yeah, and
I was watching this old Polish guy one night. He was in our club, and he's walking down this street like. I looked at him. I said, "Hey, get in the car," And I don't think he realized that his neighborhood is not what it was.
Oh yeah.
Not at night,
Yeah.
But we don't have the Sanders no more. We have Urbaniak's is still there.
Oh.
But things are. I remember they talked about. They tried to get. There was a gentleman, a Polish guy, who wanted to refurbish that deli down there in Lower Parade.
Yeah. Satulas.
Yeah, and they didn't act fast enough for him.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's and nobody sees it. Like East Avenue had a grocery store, I think, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bradley's over on 8th and Walnut. I walked hand in hand with my grandmother. I'm 67 years old. That market was there. It was probably an A&P.
We got an argument one day about. I got corrected on what the names were.
Yeah.
You had them on Parade Street. You had them on.
Yeah. But we need some help cultivating those kind of things down here in the inner city.
I think we're doing it right. What I think we're doing wrong is, it gives a bad time.
Yeah.
We haven't sat down and have a plan where we look at our biggest problem. Our biggest problem is renovating neighborhoods.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're right.
We got to make it so that people want to come back into the city. I'm reading in the paper now, kids are flocking. The young kids are flocking back to the cities. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why they do it. Because if you go to, and I'm not going to pick on the Chicagos and the New Yorks, those are easy ones.
Yeah.
But even in towns like Peoria, they're coming back into the downtown. And the reason is they want the nightlife. Okay? They don't have kids yet. So they're not worried about the 50 acres or the yard.
Yeah.
But, they're young and they're mobile and they want to be able to party at night, walk to their. It's kind of like what we've been trying in downtown Erie.
Yeah.
But where we did it wrong is, and I've heard people say this, we have more lower income people downtown where we need to encourage, like, was it a bad idea when they talked about building a 14-story building on the dock, on the East Dock?
Yeah.
They talk about 10 to 14. Think about that. People that had money and viable.
Oh, yeah.
What's going to happen when you have money?
Yeah.
Private business will come back.
Yeah, that's right.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz.
Yes.
Let's face it. From Gilson Road, by Hammermill,
Right.
all the way to State Street, 26th Street to the lake, it's shot. The whole inner city on the east, I'm talking the east side, is shot.
Right.
And they blew a big chance a couple years ago when Pat Capianca led the charge to shoot down that casino at Hammermill.
I agree with you. That was, I think if that was our last legit, that was one that, forget about the steel mill, forget about everything else. That's the one we could control.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Look how nice they're making out in Summit. They're building hotels out there and everything. That would have sat on our Hammermill property with a hotel. And we're talking about a marina coming in there, and all the business around East Avenue and all that would have a spin-off from that casino.
Did you see the original drawings of that place?
Hammermill?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
There was some pie in the sky in there, but I mean, ultimately the way they looked at it was the problem. There were some problems, like the one was how to get the horses across the road, so they were going to use that bridge, and they were going to build another road to bring the traffic in.
They worked it out.
Yeah, they had it all planned. And what the beauty part was, they had an IMAX theater in there. They had a hotel. They had like a little arena, not a big one, like your insurance.
And if you got to have some kind of industry down around that east side to bring that neighborhood back. There's no more shops.
Oh, I remember I talked to Pete from Ricardo's.
Yeah.
He thought it was he thought, man, this is it. This will really, because here's a guy that's been there for years, Think what that would have done to that part of town.
Oh, that was it. That was part of the salvation for that. Right now, you have those people live down there. Those houses are really getting in bad shape. They can't afford to fix them up.
No.
Most of them are rentals.
And you know what? We would have had, by state law, because we have a very large budget, we would have been able to, keep every dollar.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had to give it to the county.
Yeah. The way that money gets distributed now, we give half to that authority.
We don't get anything.
But half goes to the county, and county council deals with it, and then another half goes to that authority, and they just kind of willy-nilly distribute it around. I mean, some of the projects they give money to might be worthwhile, but that money should be for economic development. That's it.
And I'll tell you what.
And tax reform.
I'll ask you, sir. You remember how the deal broke out, right?
Oh yeah, I watched that on TV the whole time.
If I gave you, I'll make it very simple. If I give you $100 bill, right?
Yeah.
And I say, look, I want you to give me. I'll give you $100 every year, and I want $5. I want $10 out of that every year. I want to keep it. Do you take that deal?
Sure you do.
I mean, especially. I mean, there was a lot of mistrust, but you know what? We never got to the point where we would sit down and talk about making sure that what we gave them back was going to be used to help their project. Because if they needed money, it wasn't the preferred site. Then we should have sat down and said, well, what do you need the money for? Yeah. Well, we need the money for, site improvement, road improvement. Okay, then that would have been, and I'm not, please when I say this, I'm not an authority man that much.
Yeah.
But we would have needed an advisory committee to sit down.
Jim Thompson and Ian Murray were really pushing for that, I remember, because I watched it on television.
Yeah, it was a sad vote, and I think it signaled to me the last great opportunity.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that guy was running that. It was an Arnett, or was it Arnold? I forget his last name, but
it was before him. It was
it was Rubino.
Rubino was the point man
for it.
But he was telling people how much he wanted that site, and then Capianca said to him right on TV, "Well, if you want it so bad, you pay for it. Yeah. You come up with all the money." Yeah. And that's all he had to say. Okay, goodbye. We're going to Summit.
Well, it was definitely, we were in competition with. The one site was a dead site, green shingle. It was basically us and Summit, and I think we screwed up. And I mean, I look at it now like.
And now they're trying to make this a tourist town. We got 3 months of nice weather in Erie. Like right now, who's going to come to Erie, Pennsylvania? Maybe an ice fisherman convention or somebody. Nobody's going to come to Erie, Pennsylvania for a convention.
Think of this though. They were talking about, and this is where the pie in the sky comes in. but maybe it's not like, maybe we don't get that, but we get something else. They were talking about a monorail from the casino to the hotel sections, on State Street.
Yeah.
Think about if we had a combined business section, and you could get on, you could have your hotel at the Hammermill site, or you could have other sites, different places. That would have renovated the waterfront.
Looking north, you couldn't have had a more beautiful piece of property to put a casino.
No.
You just couldn't.
People love water.
Yeah, they love water. And it would have refurbished going south.
You could have ran a boat, what do you call it?
Oh, yeah.
A boat back and forth?
Yeah. There's still that piece of property, I guess, where there's a building that juts down to the, from the
Our
bluff.
house is still up down there, and they have plans of making it into a restaurant and a gift shops.
Yeah, a unique piece of property, because you could never do that again.
I think that was, if there was one thing we really, it'll look back in history. I mean, we talk about the U.S. Steel plant, we talk about the Saturn plant, we talk about the Miller Beer plant, but those were like, long shots at best.
Yeah.
But here's one where the Commonwealth was going to put one in an area.
It was here.
Somebody was going to win, and we just, I think we went to, the old saying is, we went to the gunfight with a knife.
Yeah, you never do that. Yeah,
but I look back now, and I think that is probably the biggest mistake that, people didn't like they didn't like the main characters, and so the project was clouded. Go ahead, caller. Yeah, the project got clouded, and I think that was a mistake.
Yeah. What time is it, Ken?
It's about time. You want to give your last comments?
Oh, no, I'm just glad to get a chance to come down. A Happy New Year.
You stimulate conversation.
Happy New Year to everybody out there in Erie, and let's hope it's better than last year.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
That power plant at Hammermill?
Yeah.
They'll never sell that because they're not issuing licenses anymore. So I believe MTR still owns that.
Oh, I
Yeah,
think
they
so,
do,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
And you're talking about the vegetables and all that?
yeah.
The food banks go to Wegmans, they go to Tops, they pick up the old produce
Yeah.
to utilize it.
What does Natalie do with hers? I never asked her.
I haven't seen.
I just like, usually by the time you get there, it's wiped out anyway.
That's true. And you were talking about the penny earned?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll come to work for you for a month. I'll start at a penny a day, and I'll keep doubling it. How's that?
Well, that's what they meant by that comment. A penny here, a penny there.
No, I'm saying I'll come to work for you a penny a day the first day. Just
Yep.
keep doubling it for 1 month.
Hey, you know what's interesting? The accountants, the CPA group, has a little thing to give out to kids.
Yeah.
When they're young, and they say, if you do this every day of your life, okay,
Yeah.
this is how much you'll have. And even if you just take 1 penny and you left it there for like 20 years, there's how much it'd be worth to show the kids, how compounding works.
They couldn't believe it, right?
Oh, no, yeah, that's the thing, John. I think back if I hadn't bought all those baseball cards, what I would have had,
Yeah. You were talking about Bradley's and Bellows, but Bradley's is still in Northeast, and Bradley's is still in Corey, and Bellows is still on the west side. They're just moving out of the troubled area.
And you know what? It's sad, but we're losing so much so fast.
That's true. And Danny Seraphin, God bless him, he's down there in the jungle, and he still seems to maintain his store.
Hey, John, think about this. The Verizon building's now empty that employed, 150 people.
He used to have there.
And Erie Business Center right down the street is empty now. Now, Gannon will probably get their hands on Erie Business Center probably because it's classrooms and stuff like
They go
that.
all the way from Parade Street, from 6th Street, all the way down to the Bayfront.
But Gannon will probably get that Verizon building because it's right next to another one of their properties. And, I hate to keep saying this, we don't ever recover. We lose more tax money every year than we gain because no one's building anything new to create tax money.
And I'm not picking on Mill Creek, but you know what? They're in a perfect situation. They're building their way out of problems. But they're going to reach the end too.
Because we're in a pilot program, and they give a bone, and they don't even keep the ham.
How about if we could get a pilot out of the 3 colleges?
How about if we just charge them for services?
Well, you know what? When the Commonwealth decides to to change that, and there is some talk. But you know what? The problem is that it's just talk, and then.
Well, you just had a guy retire. He was supposed to be the director of getting pilot funds. He didn't do a very good job.
Well, I think we're you know what? They don't like my approach would be this. Every time you want something, okay, like if you want us to waive the parking regulations or number of spaces, okay, I'll give it to you. Here, what do we get out of it?
True.
Right. Yeah.
You know, did you see how quick county council dealt with the hotel? Now, they gave the county some money. What did we don't get anything when we do anything. We don't ask anybody for anything.
And that hotel's in our area.
Yeah.
It's
They did the same
in
thing
the
with the water authority. The water authority threw them a bone, and they jumped at it because it was a large sum, and it helped them out of a crunch.
You know what? I hear this threat. If it was me, now I'm an alumni. They probably know. I'm not going to get any invites to anything again, and I know that. I burned that bridge a long time ago.
Yeah.
But
That's true. You're saying it like it is.
I'd say this to them. Okay, if you're not going to, I don't want a car. I don't want a truck. Fund something that's valuable. Give us some policemen. Give us a pilot. Something. Give us something. And then when you want something, we'll be agreed. Otherwise, you know what? You just leave the meeting and go, okay.
Well, the city of
You stick to your line, and when you need something, we'll talk about it.
It's going to be like Geneva on the lake up the road. It's there for 6 or 8 weeks, and then they roll the sidewalks in and forget it.
Well, John, I want to see, the next time somebody threatens, like Gannon or somebody, we're going to move. Well, go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead, because you know what? I don't think they want you on the suburbs.
That's true. So.
All right.
Hey, have a great day,
You
guys.
too, John.
I'm going to go out and see if I can shovel my driveway because the plows went by and they did a hell of a good job.
We'll see you, John.
Bye, John.
If you get a ticket, give it to me.
Well, okay, if I give it, yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming.
No, I enjoy coming down here.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.
I don't think it was hard enough to get the